welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday, and previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and everything in between every Saturday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., alongside Kaliko Yachts.
I mean, it's March Madness time. Just hope your bracket ain't busted, because mine got busted day one. I'm fucked. I'm getting cooked in this bracket.
So you're saying Atlanta immediately went out?
I mean, it's college, so San Diego State got smoked day one. But that was Tuesday. I'm like, well, fuck my bracket.
So, so region bias by you already.
I mean, I kind of got to go with the alma mater, but I also had a caveat. If they didn't score 70, they were going to get cooked, and they scored 68. So that still holds true to this day. So everybody was with my college. I'm real with it. Hopeful, realistic though. Hopefully realistic.
There you go. Um, it was a good week for Wrestling With as we interviewed Ty Williams on Tuesday and Goblin on Wednesday. Two unique, incredible interviews. Definitely want to go check those out in the archives if you haven't already. This upcoming Monday, because yes, we're at the ending of the month once again, we have Danny G up in the Chicago area. We talk about his matches with Joey Mayberry. We talk about wrestling in the rain. We have an interesting conversation about tattoos and cartoons as well. So a lot of interesting things to unpack in that interview. On Tuesday the 25th, we have DJ The Disaster, also from the Chicago area. We talk about her being the first ever women's heavyweight champion in her promotion. We talk about her relationship with John Scrutch, friend of the show. We talk about her match against Mickey Knuckles, also friend of the show. Some hard-hitting matches against the Woad, and a hell of a lot more. There's a lot. Oh, we talk about anime. I may or may not have gotten her in trouble with her fiance during that conversation. Um, but yeah, just a lot of fun things to unpack in that interview as well. And then on the 26th, Wednesday, we have Isaiah Valencia, the Pinoy Supernova, back to Puso Pro Wrestling. We talk about his relationship with Nigel San Jose, Patricia Lagaya, and a lot more. We talk about his rivalry with Jamar and his coach Fabio McKissick, Game Boy Advances, and a lot. So, but don't take my word for it. Here's some clips now. Least favorite character?
In Naruto?
Yeah.
I don't want to start an argument with my fiance. Sakura.
Yeah. Get out of my room. Get out of my room.
Okay. Favorite arc?
Ooh, the pain arc.
The pain arc. Okay.
What was the question?
The pain arc is my favorite arc.
What was the question?
You know what the question was.
I want to hear how it was phrased.
My least favorite character.
Talking about people who didn't do nothing.
See, here we go. But the
Sakura saves
the
people.
pain.
People didn't do nothing.
Trisha. I did have a conversation with Patricia last week, and from her perspective, you were getting into her business. Why was that?
Oh, okay. All right. Me and Patricia are very good friends. All right. Okay. I will not dispute that maybe I did get into Patricia's business that didn't ask for it, but for me, I saw injustice. I saw a guy basically demanding something he didn't deserve. I wanted to step in, but I've learned my lesson. You know, she didn't need it. She didn't need it at that point, but I needed to do something. I felt like I needed to do something, but I've learned, I don't need to do something all the time. She can handle it on her own.
Alright, and then on April 1st, April Fool's Day, we have Izael. On the 2nd, we have Jake Braddox. On the 8th, we have Bad Bad Bati. On the 9th, we have Eurasian Dragon. And then on the 16th, we have Murillo D'Angelo. So April already looking like a big month for Wrestling Wit as we go into WrestleMania season. Alright, I think we're done putting ourselves over. No, Kaliko?
No, we're never done. We're never done. Can't stop, won't stop. No Diddy though.
Yeah, no Diddy. Um, it's a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with the news. And if you believe rumor and innuendo, Kamala will be joining the Hall of Fame class of 2025 sooner rather than later. They said that it's been discussed internally but hasn't been announced verbally yet. Um, I mean, obviously, she lost the election early or in the year. There was, she lost to already Hall of Famer Donald Trump. So, I mean, I understand that they want to give her a nod. Um, all joking aside, and we're talking about Kamala, the wrestler, not Kamala Harris. um, but yeah, if Kamala is inducted into the Hall of Fame, this is quite the eclectic group of wrestlers that they've accumulated this year, no, Kaliko?
I mean, it just yeah, it's gonna be a big group between the natural disasters, Triple H,
Michelle McCool.
um, Lex Luger, Michelle McCool. Yeah, it's a whole it's a personality driven group to say the least. But I mean, Kamala gets in mainly because of his Mid South works. If if it were for me, to me, that what sets him apart. Although he was a big heel in the WWF, but Mid South Wrestling was where he was kind of like the guy as far as like the biggest heels of all heels in that run. Especially when I was younger. Let me see. It was him and the Moondogs that just seemed like they were just unbeatable. So yeah, it was warranted, that's for sure, and deserving. So if he does get in, which we let's fingers crossed, hope he does, it will be a well warranted congratulations to say the least.
Definitely. Couldn't agree more. Right. On the opposite end of that spectrum, well-known pro wrestler Homicide announced that he is retiring because of health issues. Apparently, he has a cyst in his brain that will
Mm-hmm.
prevent him from continue competing. Um, I mean, it's really sad. I mean, obviously, Homicide, one of the all-time greats. I don't think he ever made it to WWE, but I mean, you still know the name Homicide. Uh, I hope that it's just a retirement for now type thing rather than, permanently retired, but um, obviously I want his health to be, take precedent over everything else. What say you, Kaliko?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Health over wealth. I mean, especially with the brain, because it's it's a matter of how to go about it with the brain, right? It's not like a a a leg cyst or something where they could just cut it off and he could keep going. So it's just a matter of trying to make sure it's malignant and not cancerous, and making sure if it is, it's at a stage where they could probably go through the proper procedures to prevent it from developing even worse. So yeah, health over wealth. So get well soon, Homicide. We are all rooting for you because we hate this thing called tumors and cancer shit. We just hate all of it because just when you think of it, most people associate it with cancer in the first place.
Right. Um, from trying to get healthy to definitely has no regard for their health. John Moxley, um, as we call him, neo-Nazi Moxicillin. Him and Cope had a hardcore match, street fight, whatever the fuck you want to call it, on Wednesday. Where Cope, fucking Cope, fucking Edge, brought out the Janus weapon, the 2x4 with the spikes in it that he calls Spike, like that's a real original name. Like, wow, its name's Spike.
Dudley.
I mean, it would have been better if it was Spike Dudley. It would have got a bigger pop than the match did. Um, but Edge brought out the 2x4 with the spikes, with the nails in it, and proceeded to do a vertical suplex on John Moxley in the base, in the 2x4 with the spikes, which proceeded to the 2x4, the nails getting stuck in John Moxley's back. If you watch, I don't know if you saw it, Kaliko.
Yeah, I saw it. Oh, I saw it.
It was I saw that shit live, and it was a grisly sight. And seeing them try to pull it out of his back, it was,
Yeah, ridiculous.
it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It's just, why, and it wasn't like, if they would have did that at the paid preview to say, okay, let's go balls to the wall um, because Osprey and Flatulence is gonna be unloading all their loads in their cage match, and we need something to stand out. I still would have been pissed about it. I wouldn't have. I still would have liked it, but I would have understood why they did it. This was a random fucking Dynamite that got the lowest ratings that they've had in quite some time. So, I mean, why? Just, and you don't need it, and yet you do it. Just why?
Because they want it. Moxley's a threshold for pain. The bigger question is what, other than the shock value, what is the gain from it?
Brooklyn?
That's the biggest question.
I mean, I don't think that there was anything gained. Honestly,
Yeah, because it.
I mean, yeah, it got people talking about AEW, but it didn't get people talking about AEW in the best light, which just kind of seems like the norm for AEW, if I'm being honest.
I mean, I guess because I'm looking at it like, if this was done in the midst of mm, Cope or Edge winning the title, I get your point. I totally would get that, right?
Right.
But this wasn't even done like, I mean, Mox won, so it didn't really serve a purpose.
Right. It was just basically same old, same old. And, you know, it seems like people are so over, the Dead Riders, and it just keeps going and going and going. And, like, nobody asked for this, and people are asking for it to end. And, like, Tony doesn't want to pull the trigger on it. I mean, would Edge be the first person you would want to put the belt on? Probably not, but I mean, it's not like there's not a lot of guys available at this point. I mean, you have Jay White.
Everyone's kind of busy. Everybody's dancing with each other.
Well, I mean, Swerve is out of his dance with Ricochet, and I mean, Jay White. It does seem like the people are kind of getting behind Jay White at this point. Edge has been kind of putting him over. As a baby face. I was under the impression that Darby was going to be the one that was going to um, take the belt off of Moxley. I mean, he crossed the card to him, and I don't think we've seen Darby since. Um,
Um, but didn't Darby have an injury?
is Darby injured, or is he climbing a mountain, or
God knows what the hell he's doing.
I mean,
Bro, he could be.
if you want Darby to be the guy to take the belt off of Moxley, wouldn't you need Darby to actually fucking be there?
True. I mean, but like I said, but we always talked about this. It's a shift. I think Moxley winning it is because he's probably the most consistent guy that they have.
Consistently giving the worst matches the companies have in its
I
5 years
mean,
career.
he's available. No matter what you say, he's available. I mean, motherfucker out here driving 11 hours to get there. He's like, I'm not driving 11 hours all the way here to lose this belt. Damn it. So, I mean, it, but I mean, it got what it wanted, which was media attention, but it's just a matter of, I
like,
guess they're just, it's like showcasing shock value, but yeah, what are you going to do to top that? See, that's the question. Because when you do stuff like that, it's only like that was the problem with AEW when it first got started. When they kept doing all this shit, it only gets worse. It only begets more and more. Right. So therefore the moves now to the point they're just doing it for the shock of holy shit rather than the storyline of, oh my God, he did it.
right. And I mean, was it last week? I think it was last week. We compared, obviously, you know, for better or worse, Osprey and Fletcher, killed each other in a cage match, grudge match, and they literally had everything and the kitchen sink. Literally the next night on Raw, CM Punk wrestled Seth Rollins in a cage match, and I would I would say just as heated of a feud, and they did,
if not more personal.
yeah, and they did maybe a quarter, and I'm being generous with like a quarter of what Osprey and Rollins, no, they did a quarter of what Osprey and Fletcher
Fletcher.
did, and they got bigger reactions.
Because the sell is in the timing of when things happen and not doing it just for doing its sake. Because and the prime example is when Roman came out and did the stomp, and he wanted to do the stomp on the steel steps. He could have done it if he wanted to do it for doing its sakes, but for the simple fact everybody came in and grabbed him, it makes you realize, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it holds it back, and then that he's taking his mind off that, then he sees Payment and Punk, and it's like, oh, remember that. So it was kind of like it was a shift from what's happening now to shift to a callback, and that's the problem with AEW. They just gotta, it's just one of those things where it's just like the moves themselves is not the problem. It's when they do the moves is the problem. Because had they did that at the pay-per-view, it would have been one thing. Because it was a title match and it was Edge and Cope and it was them doing it their first time in kind of a street fighter-ish style, cheating to win. Doing that to try to win the title makes sense. Doing it in a meaningless street fight has nothing to do with it.
we're going from a meaningless street fight to a meaningless lawsuit. Don't remember if it was last week or the week prior, but we talked about Ryan Nemeth putting a lawsuit against AEW, Tony Khan, and CM Punk. The lawsuit was for the complaints were for assault, breach of contract, breach of implied covenant of good faith, and fair dealings and intentional interference with prospective advantage. And Nemeth was seeking compensatory damages, pecuniary damages, and requested a jury trial. AEW has filed petition to have Nemeth's talent contract sealed, citing irreparable harm to AEW's business if the contract's terms became accessible to competitors. AEW is looking to have the lawsuit moved to private arbitration. I said a lot of words there, Kaliko. Any of them mean anything to you?
Not really. Because honestly, the only thing I was thinking about is how did we talk about AEW and we didn't talk about that our homegirl was on there getting slaughtered by Mercedes, but still showed up nonetheless.
Yes, Space Jesus, Billy Starks, friend of the show, handing Mercedes Monet's ass to her, still taking the L, but we're proud of her nonetheless.
I know you got caught up in that politics. That's that slaughter.
Yeah, I apologize.
That's Sasha Slaughter.
Well, no, it's still Sonata Slaughter, just with Sasha.
Yeah, as I said, it's just for the girls it's called Sasha Slaughter, and then for the men it's Sonata Slaughter.
Okay, I could deal with that. Um, do you think it's going back to the lawsuit? Um, AEW wants to have the talent contract sealed, so it's not people aren't able to read it. Saying that it would be irreparable harm to AEW's business if the terms of the contract were accessible to the competition, a la WWE, TNA, New Japan, yada yada. do you feel like that's a warranted um thing for AEW to feel, or is it them being paranoid that their contracts aren't structured in a really well, uh, in a good way, that they don't want that getting out?
Oh, I was gonna say the only reason you wouldn't want that to come out because you don't want to have it matched with the talent. The, I mean, talent talks. They talk about their pay. Why wouldn't they?
Well, I mean, like I oh, well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, Ryan Nemeth wasn't even, a fully under contract wrestler. He was an independent contract that was going from that was only getting paid from date to date that he was actually booked, rather than being able to sit in catering and get paid every single week. So
Mm,
you kind of understand what I mean by that. I just
I see what you mean, but I mean, I don't get what's the harm in it. I mean, it's not like WWE's going, oh my God, we just gotta have Ryan Nemeth.
right. I mean TNA isn't either, but they gotta buy one get one free deal with Nick.
But I want to get one half off.
Yeah,
They got the BOGO.
BOGO. Um, Personally, like I said, I kind of feel like their contracts might not be structured very well, or in a way that makes them look bad, and that's why they don't want the contracts getting out, rather than, oh, the pay, or the competition might see how we do things. I think they're afraid that it's gonna make them look bad. Just my
I
opinion.
mean, possibly. I mean, that's the only way. Or they overpaid.
Do you think that they overpaid for Ryan Nemeth?
It's AEW, bro.
Yeah, you're right. Um, it's kind it's kind of like when you buy the bootleg version on like a third party site, and the action the let's say action figure for context.
Timu. It's Timu.
Yeah, but the action figure is like $5, but shipping is like $50.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep. Sounds about right.
Ryan Nemeth. Um, that brings us to A1 Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy. We haven't seen them since January. The Wyatt Sicks. Um, and it's being reported, if you believe the rumor and innuendo, that um Bo Dallas is injured, which halted any storylines. Um, he may be prepared to come back now, over whatever injury he had, but they don't exactly know what to do with him or the Wyatt Six. And
Hmm.
obviously, Alexa Bliss came back as well, so she's kind of in limbo when it comes to all of this, storytelling that could be told but isn't, because they don't necessarily know what to say. I feel
Right.
like, despite the Bray Wyatt not necessarily having a direction for what he was doing, he just kind of did it. You didn't know what was happening, but at least something was happening. I don't think WWE or even Bo at this point kind of know how to get that intrigue without, you know, putting it in the ring. It's like kind of the opposite of Bray, where it was primarily, it was 99% outside of the ring, but once it got into the ring, it wasn't so good. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, it's just, I mean, they were supposed to be having this big feud with the Final Testament that didn't phase out because half of them got cut. And
Right.
so it's just a matter of, for them, I think my guess would be when Uncle Howdy gets back, it'll pick up. Because on the house shows, they got Nikki Cross going against Scarlett. So it's not like they're out of the woods with it yet. It's just a matter of, it's WrestleMania season and they only got so many stories that they can run, right?
Right.
So some people are going to end up in the back burner. I mean, Alexa Bliss just got back and she's already in the back burner because it kind of matters more about the Bianca Io Rhea story, and then you got the Tiffy Charlotte story. Now they got mid card titles in which Alexa could be a factor in, but they're trying to build those stories to make people want to spend $88,000 to be in the nosebleeds to be at WrestleMania.
Right. And I mean, in your opinion, were the Wyatt Sicks doing anything of significance or note on Raw when they actually was active?
Nothing to where the crowd would demand to see them. I mean, but then again, neither is American made. So it's,
Well, I could make the argument that American made is a long-term investment rather than a right here, right now. Because they are still relatively new to pro wrestling, they're obviously still green. The Wyatt Six, they are all established guys. Bo Dallas, we knew who Bo Dallas was. Eric Rowan obviously was a part of the original Wyatt family. Nikki Cross,
OG.
former women's champion. I mean, the only two guys that I would say are, I don't want to say relatively unknown, but, the lesser known two guys would be Loomis and Gacy that could have used, some push with Wyatt Six. And, I mean, why did we need Bo Dallas to continue with the Wyatt Six storyline? I mean, there's like 5 other people that could have been in the storyline. You know what I mean?
Because the internet people wanted him to do it because he's blood related.
I mean, it's not like it wasn't going to come back. I mean, it was just, until he gets back, let's do this with this guy.
True, but people are gonna. I mean, we're fickle, bro.
Yeah.
How come Bo ain't in it?
Well, when he does come back, I want to say that it could be good shit, because it definitely could be good shit, but everything that has been Wyatt Six as of this point kind of fell to the wayside, unfortunately. So my expectations are a little lower than they necessarily could be, in my opinion.
As they should. Buy low, sell high.
Well, that brings us to what was going on Raw, and that is John Cena. He's not a heel. He's not a babyface. He's a human being. was your thoughts on the promo of John Cena, his first promo as a heel?
I mean, you could tell it took him a while to get used to talking shit to the people. It was awkward at first because it was just like, he was, it almost sounded like the guy who got all the opportunities was yelling he's the victim.
Yeah.
So it came off like that to me in a sense. He kind of got in the groove once he got the kids involved and got the kids crying. So, I mean, but he, I mean, I don't know about him putting in the "you can't see me" joke, and I thought that was funny. It's, I guess, because he came out to the same music, and the fact that he just said, "You get nothing because I'm just gonna be me." And I'm assuming that's his angle. The angle is that the only reason, because to sum it up, he's basically saying the only reason you guys are with me is because of certain aspects, and I give myself to you, and that's not enough, and it's not enough, and that's not enough, and he's tired of playing the charades. Which, I mean, that would sound good if he's still not doing Make-A-Wishes. So there's that big thing in the background, right? So this is the part of wrestling where the old heads would be like, well, you gotta go full Monty, right? If you're gonna go heel, go full Monty. It's not just enough to like talk smack about the kids in the audience. I would take him serious if he had a punched a Make-A-Wish kid.
Oh my god. Okay, I think that's going a little too far, Kaliko.
Not, like an actor Make-A-Wish kid, not an actual Make-A-Wish kid. But I'm just saying, like, because you want to you're building heat on him. The heat that's built on him is just the shock factor. There's nothing about that promo that tells me to take him seriously as a heel. If that makes sense?
Right. No, I felt the same way. It was just as disingenuous as, his face promos. He was just heel. That's kind of the only thing. Um, I
Yeah, there
did,
was no big difference.
right. I did feel, I did kind of feel genuinely bad for that little kid that John Cena did single out in that promo, and just to see that his face was crushed.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
if you just say, like, fuck them kids, and, okay, well, that's, that pertains to everybody, but he literally singled out one child. And, for children, that could be, damaging, especially considering he was all in, John Cena gear.
Yeah. But
But
it ain't gonna mean shit because of the simple fact that he's gonna go in the back and hook him up. I mean, and they're gonna put it on TV. See, that's the problem.
yeah,
Like, that's the issue with WWE because they're trying to have it both ways where it's like, oh yeah, they're wrestlers, but they're not really,
they're
you want them to
human
take the,
beings.
right. They're humans and they have lives and like, I get it. I get it. But I mean, this is where I give credit to someone like MJF. If he's a dick all through and through.
You
I
know, you know, in this case, yeah, I agree with you on that about MJF. He's he's never presented himself to not be a dick. even when he was a face.
Yeah, and that's kind of the whole point of it, right? Like you kind of gotta tough it out through that because I went to like the night John Cena turned heel, they were still showing pictures of him meeting autistic kids in the back. So I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with this?
Like boo him in the arena, but cheer him on social media.
And then you have the fucking audacity to be like, oh yeah, John Cena's this heel, but you for $25,000 you could have lunch with him while he receives his lifetime achievement award. And I'm like, fuck, dude.
I mean,
Ay, ay, ay.
that being said, Hulk Hogan's VIP package, which was $10,000, they dropped it to $6,000 because it was not doing well.
I mean, he already knows why, brother.
Yeah, he knows what he did,
You know what he did, anyways.
making
But
kids cry in convenience store.
I mean, that's cheaper than the fucking ringside seat at Mania. I might think of. I might have to eat that to get with Hogan.
So you're saying that you would be okay with sitting next to Hulk Hogan to watch WrestleMania?
I'll probably do something to get banned from WrestleMania for life if I'm in front of Hulk Hogan. So yeah, I'm just gonna be there to get in the building. I don't. Not necessarily to be next to Hogan.
You know, it's funny how Hulk Hogan is doing a hell of a lot less and getting a hell of a lot more than John Cena is getting right now. Doing a lot more. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Hogan just showed us who Hogan was. John Cena is trying to force us to believe that he's something we know he's not.
Right.
Hogan is showing us who he is. I'll put it this way. John Cena was a better heel on Total Divas than he is right now. Because
Well,
he was a dick to Nikki.
you know,
He needs to bring that part back.
I
There
was
you go. Bring that, Johnson.
I was gonna bring that up because he said a toxic relationship. And I was like, well, you would know something about a toxic relationship. I watched Total Divas, bitch.
I know. I'm like, bro, if anybody knows that, you're the master.
Yeah, just before you start wrestling, before your match, get paper towels and wipe down the rain because it's too sweaty from the
I
last
know.
match.
Oh, God. Just help us all.
No, yeah. You know, I kind of felt at first, you know, punching the Make-A-Wish kid was maybe too severe, but now, now I could get behind that idea. You know, push a kid down the stairs that's in a wheelchair. You
Yeah,
saw,
get one of them child actors or like those, and pretty much kind of like how Braun Strowman pushed Roman Reigns while he was still attached to the gurney.
yeah.
Like you need some shit like that to happen
I
to
mean, it
get
doesn't even
the
need to.
the hate.
I mean, it doesn't even need to be a child actor. I mean, we could get a little person actor as well.
I mean, you could get Cody Rhodes to wrap up, bitch.
How did you feel
Like ain't no
about
different.
Cody's comeback? He didn't say a lot. You know, all he said was, "I don't want to wrestle this whiny bitch." Uh,
And everybody's like, oh, well, then again, they. I'll put it this way: they knew damn well to do that in Europe.
What do you mean?
because that crowd always is hot regardless.
Do you think that it wouldn't have been hot if it wasn't in Europe? I mean, it was John Cena's, first heel turn, promo. So I feel like the crowd would have been, hot regardless.
No, because they'll fuck around and do some shit like the Kevin Owens was right shit.
Maybe if they were like in Des Moines, but I mean,
Yeah,
there's
they would probably like them more than so they were right to do it in Europe because Europe they were hot and they understood the assignment.
which they usually do.
Yes, they do. I'm so fucking disappointed in America as an audience after watching Europe. They got fucking jingles and ditties and shit, and we just be like yelling, "Why?"
I mean, we are a bit jaded. We get WWE, year round. They only get it maybe once, if they're lucky, twice a year. So yeah, they're going to be jamming.
I mean, they're treated like a virgin breaking it for the first time with a prostitute. They going all in, baby, all in, all in. They're all in.
Okay, well that was a very descriptive. uh,
But that's my point. So next week they're gonna do it again, take two. So, and that's in what, Glasgow?
yeah, Scotland.
Oh my God, that crowd's gonna be bananas. And if Drew ain't on that goddamn card, I don't know what the fuck wrong.
I mean, considering the last time they screwed him in front of his hometown, it wouldn't surprise me if they did keep him off.
They screw every fucking wrestler in their hometown. That's part of the game.
Well, I
That's
mean,
part of the game.
they screwed him more than somebody usually gets screwed in their hometown.
Yeah, I beg to differ, but splitting the difference there.
Well, screwing the hometown was A1 Jey Uso. Um, Obviously, we talked about the first segment, John Cena turning heel. Long segment, lots of heat. It went a lot longer than it was supposed to. Jey Uso versus Austin Theory was supposed to be a 8-minute match that turned into a 30-second squash. Um, I'm sure you saw everything that happened, Kaliko. Um, Lots of botches. Pretty bad, wrestling, if I do say so myself. A spear that looked like a crossbody.
Crossbody?
Yeah. Uh, Needless to say, it was not good. Um, I mean, at the time, I thought, yeah, this is really fucking bad. But considering that, they had to rush through, the match because it was, they only had a lot of time. I can understand it a lot more, but wrestling fans, shitting on it anyway. How did how did you feel about it?
I mean, Jay's interest lasted longer than that match.
I mean, who wanted to see Austin Theories in the first place?
I do. Who doesn't want to see A-Town Down Under?
Um, Mostly
All
everybody.
day.
I
All
mean,
day.
the song is a banger for sure. I'll give you
All
that.
day. All day. But yeah, I mean, Jay's gonna have to build some confidence. I mean, I'm hoping that the pressure is not getting to him Um, I don't think it is. I mean, I don't think so, but I hope it's not. It seems like I'm hoping he's not trying to do too much because I feel like he gives his all in that goddamn entrance.
Right. And I mean, more people want to see the entrance than the actual wrestling at this point. I mean, I don't think that's a secret. Um, and I understand where he puts a lot of emphasis on that, which I mean is fine. But I didn't want to talk it too much about it. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. People are saying, "Oh, um, Jey Uso not the best wrestler. 5 moves of doom. He gets out of breath. Doing the entrance.
Yeah, he
Um,
gets winded as shit doing that entrance. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, I can see that.
and
Uh,
he's mid-event. Jey Uso not main event. Um,
oh God.
just not nice things about Jey Uso. And my thing of it has always been, I mean, those people in that crowd don't seem to care. I mean, they're cheering for him, they're yeeting, they love the entrance, they love him. It doesn't seem like it's a problem. But he is botching. He's not necessarily having the strength of matches you would expect somebody going into the main event of WrestleMania to have. You know what I mean?
I mean, I get that, but it's not like they're. If they put Jay in the same issue, like if they had him run the same gauntlet like Kofi did at Kofi Mania, it'd be a different story. Like quality opponent after quality opponent after quality opponent, right? It's it seems like they're just protecting him to get to Mania, which I personally think it doesn't do him any good because it's almost like because they're putting him against people that he should be squashing anyway, and it almost makes it seem like he can beat. The biggest thing with Jay is that he can't win the big one.
Right.
So wouldn't your gauntlet be him getting wins of quality against opponents where that believability would be increased that he could win the big one? And that's where I think is the problem. That to me is where the issue is because he's gonna beat Grayson Waller. He's gonna beat Austin Theory. But him in a non-title match against Breaker, or him against a Balor, or him rematching McIntyre, or him and even a Seth, just for the fact of making it all mingle, right? For one night. But the the quality opponent to where you could see he belongs in that echelon.
Obviously he won the Royal Rumble, which allows him the main event of WrestleMania. Um, I don't know about you, but I don't see winning. Jey Uso being the main event of WrestleMania. Um, I think that it's gonna go to somebody else. Um, from I mean, we could have that discussion, in a bit. But do you think that they're gonna go all in on Jey Uso versus Gunther in the last match of night one of WrestleMania?
The only way you would do that is if you know he's going to win.
I mean, I think he's gonna win, but we could both agree that this isn't
Ooh.
necessarily the best.
Ooh. Boy, you said that a little too smooth.
I mean, the only thing that could,
Back your bus up, young blood. Back your bus up.
well, I mean, the only thing at this point that could cost him the main event of the win of WrestleMania is all these botches, all of this negativity around him. That
No, because that didn't keep Tiffy. And remember when you were yelling that ain't gonna stop him. I just don't. Me personally, the only reason I don't think he's gonna beat Gunther because they haven't given me a reason to believe that he can.
well, I mean, look at the storyline that they have. I mean, yeah, it's oh he can't win the big one. Gunther is abusing him every single week. But who did they add into the storyline? Alpha Academy and um, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. They obviously don't have a lot of faith in Jay and Gunther to tell a compelling story on their own. I mean, in all honesty, the only person that you could really fit in there, just to say, oh, to have somebody for Jay to beat somebody would be, Kaiser. But I mean, Kaiser is kind of on a roll, no pun intended. Um, where he has his beef with Penta and Dunn. So I mean, even his rivalry is kind of getting more over than what Jay and Gunther is doing right now.
I mean, but that's because you don't. That's because even though people are cheering for Jay, I think deep down they don't think he can beat him. And that's where it comes to the point where even because you remember when they used to have like little tag matches on the way there, and if Jay pinned him in a tag, I could make that seem more believable to me than what they're doing right now.
Right. It seems like they didn't necessarily think the rivalry all the way through. To
No, they thought it through because they went through this at Saturday Night Main Event, and it was that good enough to where they were like, let's run that shit back. It ain't like this shit popped up.
well, I don't think that they uh, I don't think that they thought that they'd involve Alpha Academy into the rivalry. I mean, that feels like we're putting this rivalry on life support at this point, just to kind of get people to care. You know what I mean?
I mean, but then again, if that was the case, then what? Why break up Imperium? Ludwig could have been in that slot.
That's what I'm saying. But oddly enough, Ludwig is doing better on his own than he was in Imperium as the Iggy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, Penta just killed him in the feud, but um, yeah, but like as I was saying, it's just a matter of you got to make Jay more believable that he can do it. And I don't think doing promos and weekly things are going to change that perception
Right.
because that's why I'm like, if you're going to do all that, if they're doing this to set up a 6-man tag and Jay pins Gunther, then I'm in. Because the people will be able to see it's kind of like when you remember when the Usos went against Roman in Solo, and when Jay pinned Roman, that's when you visibly, and then they had their one on one, and that's where you could visibly see Jay beating Roman because you saw him pin him.
Yeah.
So that's where that's the psychology I'm saying. If you see him do it, and your brain is telling you when that match gets there, I've seen him do it, so therefore I have a stronger belief that he can.
Well, I think we could both agree that right hand man Jey Uso is a little bit better than main event Jey Uso.
Because right hand man Jey Uso, all he had to do was put hands on the people. Right? That they said everything you said, right hand, and he was laying that right hand on everybody.
Right.
All business, no talk.
And now that right hand is yeeting.
Yeah, just a yeet hand now.
Yeah. It does kind of, you always say, the best street profits is the ones that don't fuck around. It does seem like Jey Uso is kind of fucking around at this point.
In a sense, because a 35-minute entrance, hell yeah, he's fucking around.
Right.
I'll be the first to say it. So this is where this is the part where instead of Jay going out saying hit my music, he needs to hit Gunther in the parking lot on site.
Right. Which we're not getting.
I mean, he can. I'm thinking do that and then yeet your ass outside.
Yeah, there you go. Like I said, I don't see this being the main event of WrestleMania Night 1. I think they kind of fumbled that ball. I don't think that it would, go over as well as people might want it to. That being said, what do you see being the main event of WrestleMania Night 1? Obviously Night 2 is going to go to Cody and Cena.
If I had to pick, it won't be Tiffy Charlotte. It'll be either the Rhea, Bianca, and Io match or the Roman Punk Seth match.
I agree with that. I could see, Tiffy and Charlotte opening one of the nights, and that would be a really great spot for them. Not necessarily ending the night. I feel like if they're, as of right now, as we're talking, the rivalry between Rhea, Io, and Bianca might be taking that W when it comes to the main event of WrestleMania Night 1. But Seth, Roman, and Punk, I kind of feel like it's still cooking. I feel like we didn't necessarily get the best of what they have to offer right now. I mean, just last night they announced the match is going to happen. So, I feel like they still have time to win over that main event spot if people weren't necessarily convinced. You know what I mean?
Nah, because I think that match has the most reality in it.
yeah, you're not wrong about that. But but it's what's getting the most reaction out of the people. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's in reaction because of the fact that that is going to build it up to reaction because it's forcing Heyman once again to pick. One is force. It's too many layers. It's the fact that Heyman is possibly having to pick between Punk and Roman, and everyone's thinking, well, what if he goes with Seth? I don't think that's going to happen, but let's go there. We're not going to go there. Then you have the Seth and Punk issue where they just don't like each other off the rip, and it's just whatever. Then you got the Seth and Roman issue, in which they haven't really solved that issue
Since they broke up.
one on one. Yeah, they never like they fought each other, but that issue never came to close.
I highly doubt that
And
it's a
Rome,
rivalry that can ever close, just considering how personal it is.
I mean, but it's one of those things where it's like Roman realizes his inability to let that go kind of fucked him.
Right.
So he's gonna want to close that loop, and Seth stomping him just gave him a better reason to do so.
And I mean, we're getting that way. We're heading that way of the triple threat. Like I said, they more or less announced it on SmackDown last night. So I think it's just a matter of wait and see.
Yeah.
Personally, I kind of would like to see Rhea in the main event of WrestleMania. I mean, obviously, and obviously, Io deserves it as well. Um, you know, incredible hard worker. Um, if you go with either of those matches, you can't go wrong, in my opinion.
I mean, I would think it would be one of those two. And it would be hard to not. It would be hard to not see those two. Um,
Yeah.
and to be quite honest, I think, hell yeah, why not?
All right.
That that would be my case. Especially if Heyman's doing some shit. If Heyman start, oh man, if Heyman has to choose, ooh, I'm still trying to figure out who's gonna win the match. Let alone like, who's gonna take the pin. That's like
Rollins is
like a
taking the
lot.
pin.
You think so?
Rollins is taking the pin. I don't.
Raw,
I don't see Punk or Roman going on their back.
I know Yob.
No yob.
Oh no Yob. Oh boo.
Alright, well, that will conclude our coverage of the news in this episode as a whole. Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us this Tuesday, join us this Monday as we interview Danny G. This Tuesday as we interview DJ The Disaster, and this Wednesday as we interview Isaiah Valencia. And join us every Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E on our X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Kaliko?
I am Kaliko as long as I'm there. Hiding in the attic of Elon's Twitter.
For Kaliko Yachts and Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with entertainment.
Lord have mercy.
Hey, folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.